Good morning. Coming to you today from 72 Botsford Street. This, at first glance, kind of a nondescript residence tucked away a couple blocks off of Main Street on Botsford Street in Moncton. But when you look a little closer, you see things like this fancy concave, we call it a mansard roof, which tells you right away that this is a Second Empire style of residential architecture. Not rare, we do have a few examples in Moncton, but it is a very specific time period. So construction dates can be narrowed down because of the style that's chosen. Now, what's cool about this place is it was the residence of H.T. Stevens. He was an editor for the Moncton Times, a former MPP for Westmoreland County. And he was actually the only mayor in Moncton to be appointed. He happened to be around at the time when the Acts of Incorporation transitioned from an appointed chairman to an elected mayor. So he was actually appointed mayor before then subsequently being elected mayor for a couple of terms. So the history of this house was it was down at the corner of Main Street and Botsford Street, right beside the Times building. So his residence and his industry were all sort of in the same block in downtown Moncton. So what's the reason for it being moved? So this was built in 1877. In 1897, he sells this house amongst other assets, liquidated, and it was purchased and moved up the street where the Higgins block is now. So Lester Higgins now then owns that land and starts to build his, a few years later, starts to build his shoe factory. The reason for the move, unfortunately, is Stephen's wife, Jane, was actually accused, convicted, and then acquitted of manslaughter of their adopted daughter. And those legal proceedings actually bankrupted him. So assets like the Times, like this building, other property holdings, he had to liquidate in order to pay off debts and to move on with his life. So kind of a sad ending, but we are left with a Second Empire residence a couple blocks off of Main Street in Moncton.